Today in class, we looked at a visual proof of the Pythagorean Theorem. And what we're going to learn to do now is to use the Pythagorean Theorem to find unknown sides in right triangles. Okay, now let's review what we talked about in class today. A right triangle is a triangle with a right angle. The two sides that make up the right angle are called the legs. They are usually labeled with a lowercase a and a lowercase b. And then the hypotenuse, which is across from the right angle, is called C. So we've got leg, leg, and then the longest side, which is across from the right angle, is the hypotenuse. Remember that the right angle box always points to C. C is always across from the right angle. And we found, using the cutouts and the squares on the triangle that we worked with in class, that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And that's what we're going to use to find sides we don't know in right triangles. Okay, here's how this is going to work. Here I have triangle RST. They've given me a side of 8. They've given me a side of 15. I do not know this side over here. What we've got to figure out is which side are we trying to find. Are we trying to find A, B, or C? Well, we do not know. If we look, the right angle box, remember, points to C, so C is the side we don't know. They gave us A and B. All right, so we're going to write the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, now here's what's important. On A and B, on the legs, it does not matter which one's which. The legs do not matter. The hypotenuse does. We got to get the hypotenuse right. I often let my shorter leg be A and my longer leg be B, but that does not matter. Okay, we could do it the other way, it'd be all right. So we're going to substitute this in. A is 8, so 8 squared, plus B is 15 squared, and we're trying to find C. But right now it's C squared. So 8 squared is 64, plus 15 squared is 225, equals C squared. 225 plus 64 is 289, and that is C squared. Okay, now think a minute. If C squared is 289, how am I going to find C? What would the inverse operation to C squared be, or to squaring a number? It would be the square root. So right here, we're going to take the square root of both sides. All right, so the square root of C squared is C. The square root of 289, you're going to hit your square root key on your calculator, and you're going to get that C is 17. So the hypotenuse here is 17 centimeters. Okay? All right, now that one was a nice whole number. Look at the next one. We're trying to find this side right here. I noticed that that is across from the right angle, so we're trying to find C. It does not matter what the other two are. I'm going to call one of them A and one of them B. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A is 5. 5 squared plus B is 5. 5 squared. I'm trying to find C. That equals C squared. So I get 25 plus 25 is C squared. So C squared is 50. Now I'm going to take the square root. This last step, you're going to hit your square root key, and the square root of 50 is a big, long, old, ugly decimal. Up here, they tell us to round to the nearest tenth. So I get 7.7 or 7.07, which is approximately, I should probably put the approximately symbol because I'm having to round, 7.1. So here, the hypotenuse is approximately 7.1 centimeters. Okay, what if they give us the hypotenuse and we've got to find one of the legs? All right, here I've got this side here is 20 inches. Notice it's across from the right angle. So this is C, and I do not know one of my legs, okay? So it does not matter what you do. I'll let my 12 be A, and we're trying to find B, okay? So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. We're going to plug in 12 squared plus B squared equals 20 squared. That's 144. 20 squared is 400. Now, I'm trying to isolate B. So I'm trying to isolate this B squared here. I got to get rid of the 144. How am I going to do that? This is easy equation work. Subtract 144 from both sides, and we get B squared is 256. Okay, so if B squared is 256, I take the square root, and B is 16. Okay, so 16 inches since they gave me units. All right, so if they don't give you one of the legs, it's just this one extra step of subtracting from both sides. All right, so why don't you pause the video, you try this last one by yourself, then turn it back on to check it. All right, I got, when I rounded to the nearest tenth, that A was approximately 5.3 meters. I do want to point out, notice right here, I did not round here. I waited until the very end to round. The longer you wait to round, if you can wait till the very end of a problem, the more accurate your answer will be. Okay, so this is how we use the Pythagorean theorem to find sides that we don't know in right triangles. We will work on this in class.